ever feel like your moods just kind of, they have a mind of their own?
Mm.
Like something that should be, asterisk. So asterisk personal is actually at the mercy of, well, like asterisk everything. Asterisk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially I think if you're diving into the world of bipolar disorder, whether for yourself or someone you care about, you know this feeling probably all too well,
Right.
and you're in the right place. Because today we're talking about those kind of surprising factors that can really impact bipolar moods.
Yeah.
And most importantly, like what you can actually do asterisk with that knowledge.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's not just about understanding it, but like, okay, now what?
It's about moving from, I think, feeling blindsided by it all to feeling empowered.
Yes, exactly. And our sources this time around, they were really interesting
Yeah, they were good.
because they didn't just say like, hey, sleep matters, although they did say that.
Right. Right. Of course, we all know that.
But they quantified it.
Yeah, they did.
So for example, we often hear that routine is key for bipolar disorder.
Definitely.
But did you know that even a 1-hour shift in your sleep schedule
Yeah.
can and they're talking like statistically significantly, increase the chance of a mood episode?
It's true. And it makes sense. Right.
Okay, yeah, that's huge. I mean, it's one thing to kind of intellectually get that sleep matters, but
Yeah.
but seeing it laid out so clearly that even a small shift can have this ripple effect.
It really can.
It makes you pay attention. It's not just about, how much asterisk you sleep. It's about asterisk when asterisk plus, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Think of it like this. For someone with bipolar disorder, the brain thrives on predictability.
Okay, yeah.
And regular sleep patterns, they just contribute to that stable internal environment.
Makes sense.
And while we're not, talking about self-diagnosing
Right.
based on sleep alone, imagine the kind of conversation you can have with your doctor or therapist or whoever it might be when you can say, hey, I noticed this pattern in my sleep and it seems to coincide with
Oh, yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's powerful information.
Totally. It's like you're bringing them a piece of the puzzle that they might not have even known was missing.
Exactly.
And speaking of connecting the dots,
Yeah.
our sources also dug into medication,
Yeah. A lot of mystery there.
which I think is so interesting because it's often shrouded in mystery for people, even though it's such a cornerstone of managing bipolar disorder for a lot of people.
Yeah. And that's why tracking becomes so important, I think.
Okay.
It's not enough to know if someone is taking their medication.
Yeah.
We need to know how that medication is impacting them, throughout the day.
Yeah. So it's not just about checking a box like, took my meds, done.
Right. Moving on.
It's about noticing like, okay, I took my meds this morning, but then this afternoon I felt extra irritable. Is that the medication? Is that something else?
Right.
Let
Exactly.
me jot this down so I can even, make sense of it later.
You become a detective of your own experience, which is really cool.
And that's incredibly empowering. So you're not just, passively receiving treatment.
Yeah. You're taking control.
You're actively participating in your own well-being. You're gathering data, you're spotting patterns, you're advocating for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
And that leads us to something that frankly kind of blew my mind a little.
Okay. All right. Let's hear it.
The idea that even the weather asterisk, can influence bipolar mood.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
I have to admit, I thought that was more of a grandma's wisdom kind of thing, not like actual science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how those things work out, right?
Yeah.
Like old wives' tales, and then all of a sudden,
Right.
there it is in a study.
There's the research to back it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does sound almost too simple, doesn't it?
It does, but think about it this way. Medication often works by impacting our brain chemistry.
Right. Yeah.
Well, so do changes in sunlight, barometric pressure, even just like the shift in seasons.
Oh, that's interesting.
Our bodies are incredibly sensitive to these subtle shifts.
Right.
And for someone with bipolar disorder, those sensitivities can really manifest as mood swings.
So it's not just in your head, literally. There are actual physiological reasons why, a gloomy day might hit you differently.
Yeah, totally.
If you're dealing with bipolar disorder.
It's like our external environment and our internal landscape, they're just constantly interacting.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And that brings us to kind of another fascinating layer of all of this, which is how our social lives and activity level kind of play into this whole equation as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. We can't discount that.
Right. Because I think, and again, this isn't to say that every social interaction is going to like throw you off balance.
Right. Of course not.
But it's about noticing the pattern.
That's it.
Like if you're naturally more introverted, a jam-packed week of social engagements might leave you feeling completely depleted, and that can impact your mood. Or on the flip side, if you know, thrive on connection and you're going through a period of isolation, that can also manifest in ways you might not initially even connect to your mental health.
Right. Exactly.
So it's all connected, right?
It really is. And I think the more aware we become of these connections, the more empowered we are to make choices that really support our overall well-being.
And that's what this is all about, right?
Exactly.
It really is, yeah. And I think it highlights how much of this is about understanding like your asterisk personal patterns,
Yeah.
right?
Totally. Yeah.
Like figuring out, okay, which social situations feel nourishing and good, and which ones tend to be more draining for me personally. So
Yes, exactly.
it reminds me of how much emphasis, a lot of our sources put on this whole idea of mood tracking.
Yeah. It's like having a conversation with your own mind.
Okay.
But instead of these vague feelings, you're dealing with very concrete data points.
I like that, yeah.
Data points.
And speaking of concrete data points,
Yeah.
one of our sources, The Importance of Bipolar Mood Tracking, they really dive deep into not just asterisk you should track, but like the asterisk thing.
Yeah.
They even get into the pros and cons of like different methods, which I found super helpful.
Yeah. There really is no one size fits all approach, is there?
Right.
Some people find that physically writing in a journal, it helps them process their emotions in a way that maybe just like typing it into an app doesn't capture.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
There is something about that pen to paper connection that can feel very grounding.
Very grounding. Exactly. Yeah.
But then you have the convenience and all the features,
Yeah.
if you're using like a dedicated app. And that's where something like, the Cure Clinic app that we've talked about,
But yeah, that's a good one.
that one really shines.
For sure. For sure.
It's like having all those connections we've been talking about, mood, sleep, medicate, all in one place, easy to track and actually spot those patterns over time.
Yeah. And it can be really, really insightful to see how those pieces all fit together. Like you might start to notice, wow, my mood really dips when I haven't prioritized sleep for a few days in a row.
Right.
Or I tend to feel more anxious in the days leading up to my period, whatever it might be.
Totally. But it's not just about passively observing those patterns though, is it?
No, definitely not.
It's about what you do with that information.
Exactly. Knowledge is only powerful if you use it.
Okay. I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So for example, if you notice that your mood tends to kind of plummet after a big, social event, it's not about becoming a hermit and never,
Right.
never leaving your house again.
Yeah.
It's just about recognizing that, okay, I might need some extra downtime after something like that to recharge.
Exactly. It's about making choices that support your well-being, not like adding all these restrictions to your life.
For sure.
And that's where having, a clear understanding of what type of bipolar disorder you're dealing with can be really helpful.
Right.
Which is something else that the importance of bipolar mood tracking, that source really gets into.
Yeah, it's true because tracking can look very, very different.
Yeah.
Depending on whether someone is experiencing bipolar prior or bipolar 2 or even cyclothymic disorder.
Okay, so for someone listening who might not, be familiar with those distinctions, could you break those down a bit for us?
Absolutely. So bipolar 1 is often characterized by what we think of as kind of the more classic manic episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Those periods of intensely high energy, sometimes accompanied by, risky behavior or even psychosis.
Mm-hmm.
Bipolar 2, on the other hand, involves hypomania, which is a kind of a less severe form of mania.
Gotcha. So the highs might not be as high.
Exactly.
But they're still significant enough to really impact daily life.
For sure. And then you have cyclothymic disorder, which is characterized by longer term patterns of mood swings that kind of fluctuate between, hypomania and then mild to moderate depression.
Okay, so it's less about those extreme highs and lows and more about just like a chronic cycling pattern of mood changes.
Precisely. Yeah. Precisely. And understanding those nuances is really key because what you track, how often you track, what you're looking for in the data can all be tailored to your specific experience.
So it's about working asterisk with asterisk, your healthcare provider.
Yes.
armed with that self-knowledge
Love it.
to figure out the most effective approach for you asterisk personally.
Absolutely. It's about collaboration.
Yeah.
You're not just following orders.
Okay, so we've talked about, why tracking is so valuable, how it can look different for everyone.
Right.
But for someone who's, totally new to this, what are some concrete things that they could start tracking to just kind of get a better sense of their own patterns?
Yeah. Great question. Well, mood is obviously, a big one.
Yeah.
But don't just stop at happy, sad, anxious. Like get granular with it.
Right.
Are you feeling energized? Are you feeling irritable, withdrawn, content?
Yes.
The more specific you can be, I think the richer your data will be.
Yeah, and even trying to rate, the intensity of those feelings can be really helpful too,
Yeah.
right? Like there's a big difference between feeling, slightly on edge
Yeah, for sure.
and feeling like you're about to like jump out of your skin.
Totally,
Oh,
totally.
yeah.
And then alongside those mood nuances, think about those, those other factors that we've talked about. How many hours of sleep did you get last night? Did you take your medication as prescribed?
Were there any big social interactions? Like, did you have to like give a presentation at work? Just anything like that.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's almost like building a personalized weather map,
Oh, I like that.
but for your mood, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, low pressure system coming in might be a good day to, prioritize self-care and avoid any major decisions.
I love that. And the thing is, you can even start to like anticipate those shifts
Totally.
a little bit,
Yeah.
Did you have a late night? Okay, well, maybe factor in some extra time for relaxation the next day, big presentation at work. Okay, maybe plan a low-key evening to give yourself a chance to kind of decompress.
Yeah, it's about working asterisk with asterisk your natural rhythms, not like fighting against them.
So
And having that data, that self-awareness, it allows you to do that so much more effectively. But one thing that struck me throughout all of our sources this time was how much emphasis everyone put on this asterisk, not asterisk being a solo mission,
oh, absolutely, yeah.
like the most powerful tracking in the world, if it's just sitting in a notebook
Right.
or an app, unseen, it's not doing much. This is about starting conversations, building bridges of understanding.
Exactly. So whether you're tracking for yourself
Right.
or supporting a loved one,
Mm.
who's dealing with bipolar disorder, that shared knowledge, it becomes a tool for connection.
Yeah, imagine being able to, go to your doctor and say, okay, this is what I've been noticing. This is how my sleep has been. This is how my medication seems to be interacting with, fill in the blank.
It changes the whole conversation.
Totally. It changes the whole dynamic. Like you said earlier, it's about moving from feeling blindsided to feeling empowered.
Yes, 100%.
And that sense of agency, that feeling of like, I'm not just along for this ride, I'm in the driver's seat.
Mhm.
That's where things can really start to shift, I think.
It's about reclaiming the narrative. It's about understanding that, while bipolar disorder might be, part of your story, it doesn't have to define, the whole plot.
I love that. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, if there's one thing I hope you take away from all of this, it's that you're not alone
Right.
in any of this. And that knowledge coupled with action is incredibly powerful.
Absolutely. And what one small step can you take, today, right now,
Yeah.
to gain a little more insight into your own unique mood patterns? Maybe it's setting a reminder on your phone to just like jot down a few observations at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Maybe it's, downloading that mood tracking app that you've been curious about.
Right.
Maybe it's simply having a conversation with someone you trust about all of this. Whatever that first step looks like for you, just know that it can make a world of difference.
It really can, because even the smallest action can ripple outwards, creating like, waves of change. So keep asking questions, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep believing in the power of your own self-discovery.
Yes, love it.
Until next time, happy tracking.